Welcome back to the deep dive. Does it feel to you like the cutting edge just jumped forward, I don't know, maybe a year's worth in the last month alone? Because that's certainly how our sources feel.
Yeah, it's been, well, absolute madness was the phrase used in one report, and it doesn't feel far off, just an incredible pace.
We've got this pretty amazing stack of reports in front of us. Everything from like breakthroughs in quantum physics that sound like science fiction to these humanoid robots that cost less than a used motorbike. It's wild.
It really is. So our mission for you today is simple. Clarity. We want to quickly synthesize these really quite staggering developments because when you look closely, they cluster into four key areas that are all feeding each other right now.
Okay, what are those for?
Right, so first, there are these fundamental scientific leaps things, rewriting the basic rules. Second, major shifts happening in, governance and safety, the oversight piece. Third, what we're calling embodied AI, the robotics side, is hitting a real tipping point. And finally, just the sheer speed of practical applications and efficiency gains hitting the tech you and I actually use every day.
All right, let's dive in. Starting with that first one, the fundamental science. This stuff gets pretty mind-bending. We're talking about Google's Willow quantum processor.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Google, working with researchers from Princeton and TU Munich, they used Willow to create something called a Floet topologically ordered state.
Which sounds incredibly technical. What does that actually mean?
Well, the key thing is it's a completely new phase of matter. But unlike, say, ice or water, which are stable equilibrium states, this one is non-equilibrium. It only exists, it only holds together when the system is constantly being disturbed, constantly pushed.
So it's inherently unstable. It needs constant poking to even exist.
Exactly, constant flux. And the big deal is, classical physics, the physics we learned in school, it literally cannot describe this state. It falls apart.
Wow.
So this means quantum processors like Willow aren't just calculators anymore, they're becoming actual laboratories. We can now create and study these exotic states of matter, these weird particles that before were just math on paper.
And Willow's the same chip that did that calculation, was it 5 minutes versus billions of years for a supercomputer?
That's the one. So it's proving its power not just for computation, but for, fundamental discovery. It kind of fuels that whole, Hugh Everett many worlds interpretation discussion too, doesn't it? Exploring realities beyond classical limits.
It really does. Okay, so physics is getting bent over here. And then on the other side, the actual architecture of AI is getting rethought, but with a laser focus on efficiency.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. We saw researchers in China announce Spiking Brain 1.0. They're calling it the first brain-like AI model. And the headline claim, up to 100 times faster than systems like ChatGPT or Copilot.
100 times?
Yeah.
What's the trick? Is this about ditching that attention mechanism we hear so much about?
Precisely. Current big models, the LLMs, they rely heavily on this attention mechanism. Every word looks at every other word. It works, but it's incredibly resource-hungry, computationally expensive.
Right.
Spiking Brain apparently throws that out. It tries to work more like a biological brain, firing selectively, focusing only on nearby context, what's immediately relevant, much more efficient.
And does it perform? Like, is it actually good?
Well, the claim is it hits mainstream performance levels, but, and get this, using less than 2% of the training data that comparable open source models need.
2%. That's huge.
A massive efficiency claim. And connecting this back to the bigger picture, the geopolitical angle is critical here. This model runs on domestically produced Chinese chips, the Meta X chips.
So bypassing the U.S. restrictions on NVIDIA hardware.
Exactly. It gives China a potential path to strategic independence in high-end AI compute. Efficiency isn't just about saving energy, it's becoming a core strategic asset.
Okay, that focus on national strategy and independence, it takes us straight into the governance piece. And this next one, frankly, it sounds like something out of a novel. Albania appointed an AI chatbot as a minister.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. An actual cabinet-level minister named Della. Not an advisor, not a tool for a minister, but the minister itself. First non-physically present member of the cabinet, apparently.
What's his job? Is it like Minister of Technology?
No, much more specific and tied directly to a major national goal. Della's job is to handle public procurement, specifically to root out corruption.
Corruption in government contracts.
Yes. That's been a huge stumbling block for Albania wanting to join the EU going back to like 2009. So Della is meant to evaluate every single proposal from private companies.
Ow.
It flags anything suspicious signs of money laundering, organized crime links, dodgy financials, and blocks them. The Prime Minister, Edi Rama, he's claiming Della will make public tenders 100% incorruptible and spending 100% legible.
Okay, hold on. 100% incorruptible. That sounds optimistic. I mean, it's evaluating proposals, right? But who feeds Della the rules? Who maintains the system? Couldn't humans just manipulate the inputs or the back end?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The system apparently runs on pretty standard tech OpenAI models via Microsoft Azure, but you're absolutely right. Its incorruptibility depends entirely on the integrity of the data it gets and the people overseeing it. It's a fascinating political statement, though, regardless of the technical caveats.
Definitely a precedent. Meanwhile, while Albania is putting AI in the cabinet, the U.S. is trying to put guardrails around it.
Right, we're seeing real moves towards oversight. Federally, OpenAI and Anthropic have agreed to submit their big new frontier models to the U.S. Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute before release.
For safety checks.
Yeah, pre-release safety evaluations and then ongoing access after deployment, too. It's a step towards proactive risk management.
And California is doing something too, right? SB 10147.
That's right. At the state level, California is moving ahead. That bill requires large-scale or particularly costly AI models, think the big foundation models, to undergo safety checks and include a built-in kill switch.
A kill switch? Seriously?
Yeah, a mechanism to shut it down if things go wrong. And there are penalties if companies don't comply. It's a clear signal from regulators. The move fast and break things era, at least for these huge models, is facing much more scrutiny. Compliance and safety are becoming mandatory line items.
Okay, let's pivot now. From code and policy to, well, the physical world. Because this is where things start to feel really different, almost tangible. Embodied AI, robotics.
Yeah, this feels like a genuine tipping point. You saw that Unitree G1 demo, right, with the anti-gravity mode?
The one where they're just kicking the robot relentlessly. Yeah, it was pretty brutal, but also kind of amazing.
Totally. So this G1 humanoid, it weighs about 77 pounds, and the engineers are just shoving it, kicking it. The anti-gravity mode isn't literal anti-gravity, obviously. It's just very sophisticated control software.
How does it work?
It uses depth cameras, 3D LiDAR, constantly building a live map of its surroundings and predicting forces. So when it gets kicked, it anticipates the disruption and reacts instantly to stay upright.
And the reaction itself is what's startling. Like, when it got sidekicked, it didn't just stumble. It spread its legs wide, leaned into the impact. It looked like an athlete bracing, not a machine glitching.
Exactly. It's demonstrating dynamic stability, resilience. And that's crucial for actual work, right? If you have a robot in a warehouse or on a factory floor, it can't just fall over and need a full reset every time someone bumps into it. That's useless.
So the G1 is aimed at labs and work environments. How much is it?
Around $16,000 currently. Still pricey, but aimed at research and industry where that resilience pays off. But the adaptation stories get even crazier.
Crazier than taking repeated kicks.
How about taking a chainsaw to the legs?
Wait, what?
Seriously.
Seriously, there's demo footage from Skill AI showing a robot dog that continues to hobble along, continues to function, even after an engineer literally saws into its legs.
That's disturbing. But how? It's running something called an omniodiode robot brain. Essentially, it's software trained across simulations of like 100,000 different robot bodies with all sorts of damage. So the mind learns to adapt its control signals even when the physical body is severely compromised. It decouples intelligence from specific physical form.
Wow. Okay. And there was another one doing gymnastics.
Yeah, the Fourier N1. That one's an open source platform about 1.3 meters tall, 38 kilos. It demoed a full cartwheel, a 360-degree jump spin. It can sprint at 3.5 meters per second. Pretty agile.
And open source means?
Means labs, universities, even hobbyists can get their hands on this level of agility and start tinkering, building on it, accelerating development even faster.
Okay, we need to talk scale here. Because individual robots are one thing, but the numbers. China has over 2 million industrial robots deployed, more than the rest of the world combined.
That's the stat. The density is something like 470 robots per 10,000 workers. It's immense. And while a lot of that is manufacturing, you have to think about the dual use potential. Military implications are impossible to ignore.
Like what? Robots being trained to fight.
Well, yeah, we see them training punches, kicks, surviving these stress tests, but also things like AI for anti-submarine warfare. There's research describing AI systems tracking simulated submarine targets with like 95% accuracy. If that translates to the real world, the whole idea of stealthy, invisible submarines could be over.
That's a massive strategic shift. But maybe the most shocking number here is the price.
Ah, yes. The Unitree R1.
The full-size humanoid for under $6,000.
That's the plan. Unitree is gearing up to release a full-size humanoid, the R1, with that advanced mobility, that resilience we saw in the G1, for under $6,000.
$6,000. That's less than a lot of high-end electric bikes, less than a decent used car.
Exactly. Think about what that means. Highly capable, adaptable humanoid robotics suddenly becomes mass market affordable. It pushes this tech out of high-end labs and military contractors and potentially into garages, small businesses everywhere. The pace of innovation and maybe misuse could explode.
Okay, that theme of speed, efficiency, accessibility, it loops right back into the software world. Section 4, LLMs in practice. Let's start with Apple.
Right. Apple unveiled a new vision language model, or VLM, called Fast VLM, headline numbers. 85 times faster in time to first token, that's how quickly it starts responding, and 3.4 times smaller model size.
Why is that speed, that TTFT, so important?
It's crucial for making AI feel truly real-time, especially on device. If you're talking to an assistant on your phone or maybe AR glasses, you don't want that lag before it starts speaking. 85 times faster means it's practically instantaneous. It enables truly local, responsive AI experiences without needing the cloud for every little thing.
How do they get that speed boost? What's the tech?
It's clever. They're using a hybrid vision encoder called Fast VITHD. It blends two types of neural network layers. Convolutional layers, which are great for speed and compressing data, and transformer layers, which are better at the complex reasoning part. But the real trick, the secret sauce, seems to be an extra downsampling layer they added. It processes the visual input into 4 times fewer tokens, or data points, for the language model part to actually chew on. But crucially, they claim it does this without losing the important high-resolution details.
So, less data for the LLM to process means faster processing, same quality output.
That's the idea. And it means it can run efficiently right there on your MacBook's neural engine, not needing a giant server farm.
Makes sense. And while Apple is making on-device AI faster, the big cloud LLMs are getting more active. They're not just answering questions anymore.
No, they're starting to do things. OpenAI just unlocked full tool support for ChatGPT in developer mode. This means ChatGPT can now perform right actions.
Right actions, like,
Changing things.
yeah, not just reading your calendar, but maybe updating a Jira ticket for a software team or triggering a workflow in Zapier to send an email or update a spreadsheet. It can take action in other software.
With permission, presumably. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actions require user approval each time for safety. But it moves the AI from being a passive information source to an active agent that can help you get tasks done.
And Anthropic's Claude is doing something similar with documents.
Kind of, yeah. Claude can now directly edit existing Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint files, even PDFs up to 30 megabytes. You can give it natural language instructions like, go through this whole report and change every instance of Project X to Project Y, but only in Section 3, and it will do it, preserving all the original formatting.
That could save hours of tedious work.
Exactly. Bulk, context-aware editing without manual effort. It's a huge practical leap for knowledge workers.
Microsoft's also pushing the boundaries on the core reasoning ability of these models, right? With R agent.
Yeah, R spelled R-star. This is fascinating. It's a model focused on math problems, but it's outperforming models that are hundreds of times larger in terms of parameter count, like DeepSeek R1, which has 671 billion parameters.
Is it just a better algorithm?
It's the process. It uses something called agentic reinforcement learning. Instead of just trying to predict the next word in a long chain of thought to solve the math problem.
It does something else.
Yeah, it stops. It actually writes Python code to check its work, runs that code in a secure sandbox environment, looks at the output, and then adjusts its reasoning based on whether the code worked or gave an error.
Whoa. So it's like it pulls out a calculator mid-problem, checks its own intermediate steps, and corrects itself if it's going down the wrong path.
That's a great analogy. It's using the environment, the code execution, to get feedback and improve its reasoning on the fly. They're seeing signs of what they call reflection tokens. It's learning how to reason better, not just pattern matching. Shows that smarter, not just bigger, is the future.
Okay, and finally, wrapping up the practical applications, Google's making a big play with Chrome.
Yeah, Gemini is now baked directly into the Chrome browser, and the basic access is free. This basically repositions the browser as the main front door to Google's whole AI ecosystem.
How does that change things, just having a chatbot button?
It's deeper than that. Chrome becomes much more context aware. It can remember sites you visited days ago. You could ask it, like, hey, what was that website I was looking at last Tuesday that had the cool walnut desk? And it can potentially find it.
Okay, that's useful.
And it integrates directly with your other Google stuff, YouTube, Maps, calendar pulling context from across your digital life. Plus, there's a security angle.
Security.
Yeah, they're using Gemini Nano, the small on-device version, to help spot scammy websites and notifications more effectively. Google claims it helps block something like 3 billion spammy or malicious notifications every day on Android. So the browser isn't just a window anymore. It's trying to be an active, helpful, integrated AI assistant.
The browser is your personalized cockpit. Got it.
Pretty much.
Okay, so if we just step back and look at everything we've covered, this deep dive, there's a real tension here, isn't there? On one hand, you've got this incredible push towards efficiency, accessibility, putting powerful AI tools right into consumer hands like Apple's fast VLM, Google integrating Gemini into Chrome for free.
Yeah, making AI faster, smaller, more useful day to day.
But running right alongside that in parallel
Yeah.
is this almost radical acceleration in embodied AI. The physical robots, Unitree making these incredibly resilient humanoids available for the price of like a mid-range appliance.
Right.
The sheer scale of robotics in China, the potential military shifts.
Absolutely. Which brings us right back to that governance and safety question we talked about earlier. It leads to, I think, a really provocative final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've just seen highly capable, damage-resilient, agile, humanoid robot technology, the Unitree R1, potentially drop to a mass market price point under $6,000. Meanwhile, most of the current regulatory focus, like the U.S. AI Safety Institute, seems centered on controlling a relatively small number of extremely expensive large language models, the LLMs, mostly housed in well-funded labs. So the question is, does this rapid democratization, this sudden affordability of highly capable physical AI robots that can move through the real world, adapt to damage, perform complex tasks, does that maybe pose a greater or at least a faster moving risk of misuse than the handful of big software models currently getting most of the safety attention?
Is the physical affordable threat outpacing the focus on the big digital minds?
It's definitely something we're thinking about. Where should the oversight focus be when capable hardware becomes this cheap, this accessible, this fast? Something to mull over.